I work the night shift at a 24-hour diner on the outskirts of town. The place is nothing special, just a greasy spoon with flickering neon lights and a jukebox that's been stuck on the same country tunes since the 90s. It's the kind of spot where truckers stop for a quick bite, locals nurse their coffee for hours, and the occasional college kid stumbles in after a night of partying. I've been working here for about 2 years now, and I've gotten used to the rhythm of it. The nights are slow, the tips are decent, and the regulars are harmless enough. But there's always this underlying tension when you're alone in a place like this after midnight. It was a Tuesday night, or maybe a Wednesday. The days blur together when you work nights. The diner was dead, just me and the cook, Marco, who was half asleep in the back. I was wiping down the counter, lost in thought, when the bell above the door jingled. I looked up, and there he was. He was tall, maybe in his early 50s, with salt and pepper hair and a sharp jawline. He was dressed in a tailored suit, which was odd for this part of town, especially at this hour. He had an air of authority about him, like he was used to people listening when he spoke. He glanced around the diner, his eyes lingering on the empty booths, before walking over to the counter and taking a seat. "What can I get you?" I asked, trying to sound casual, but something about him made my skin prickle. "Coffee," he said, his voice smooth and low. "Black." I poured him a cup and set it down in front of him. He took a sip, his eyes never leaving mine. "You work here often?" he asked, a small smile playing on his lips. I chuckled nervously. "Yeah, you could say that. Night shift's my thing." He nodded, like he already knew. "You ever think about doing something else? Something bigger?" The question caught me off guard. "What do you mean?" He leaned in slightly, his voice dropping. "I represent a group of individuals who are always looking for talent, people with potential, people like you." I blinked, unsure how to respond. "I'm not sure what you're getting at." He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a business card, sliding it across the counter. "Think about it," he said. "If you're interested, give me a call." I picked up the card. It was plain, black with silver lettering, just a name and a phone number. No company, no title. I looked back up, but he was already standing, dropping a crisp $50 bill on the counter. "Keep the change," he said, and with that, he was gone. I didn't know what to make of it. The whole encounter felt surreal, like something out of a movie. I shoved the card in my pocket and tried to forget about it, but it lingered in the back of my mind. A week later, he came back. This time, he wasn't alone. There was a woman with him, maybe in her late 30s, with sharp features and a too-wide smile. She was dressed in a sleek black dress, her heels clicking against the linoleum floor as they approached the counter. "Elise, right?" the woman said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "We've heard so much about you." I froze. I hadn't told the man my name. "Can I help you?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. The woman leaned in, her smile never wavering. "We're hosting an event next weekend. Exclusive. High profile. We think you'd be perfect for it." I glanced at the man, who was standing silently behind her, his expression unreadable. "I'm not sure what you're talking about," I said. The woman's smile widened. "Oh, don't be modest. We know talent when we see it. And you, my dear, have potential. We're talking life-changing money. All you have to do is say yes." My heart was pounding. Something about the way she said it, the way they were both looking at me, set off every alarm bell in my head. "I'm not interested," I said firmly. The woman's smile faltered for just a second before she recovered. "Think about it," she said, sliding another card across the counter. "We'll be in touch." They left as quickly as they had arrived, leaving me standing there, my hands trembling. I didn't know what they wanted from me, but I knew it wasn't good. The next few nights were tense. Every time the bell above the door jingled, I jumped. I told Marco about the encounter, and he promised to keep an eye out, but I could tell he didn't fully believe me. Who would? It sounded like something out of a bad thriller. Then, one night, I saw them again. They were sitting in a booth in the corner, watching me. I didn't know what to do. I thought about calling the police, but what would I say? They hadn't done anything wrong. Not yet, anyway. I kept my distance, avoiding their table as much as I could. But as the night wore on, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to happen. Finally, as I was closing up, I saw them get up and head toward the door. The woman turned back and gave me one last smile before they disappeared into the night. I locked the door behind them and leaned against it, my heart racing. I didn't know what they wanted, but I knew I didn't want to find out. I quit the next day. It's been months since that night, and I still think about them sometimes. I never called the number on the card, and I never will. But every now and then, when I'm alone in the dark, I can't help but wonder what would have happened if I had said yes.